The Twins get back on the winning side with a sweep-preventing power pack defeathering of the Blue Jays on Sunday. That's among the good news. Among the bad, Zebby Matthews joins Pablo Lopez on the injured list because of a strained shoulder. What's the prognosis, long-term and short? We're not doctors. We don't even play them. What do we do here? We get Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team every day. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. That's me hitting where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer whose shoulder hasn't been the same. Actually, it's this one since Little League. I'm also a BBWA member and a Hall of Fame voter. Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warren, who shoulders the other half of the blame when things go wrong in the podcast. Brandon was a Twins fan who became a Twins writer, and now he's both. Maybe someday you can find more of our work at Access Twins and Zone Coverage. On the show today, not another one. Zebby Matthews out with a strained shoulder, something he felt going back more than 2 starts to a bullpen session at Tampa. So I don't know if we can blame this one on Oakland, on West Sacramento or not, but probably didn't help. Zebby won't throw for 2 weeks. We're looking at hopefully early July. I'm just making that up almost, but write that in pencil. Simeon Woods Richardson is expected to be recalled from St. Paul and start Tuesday against the Rangers. That's right, Brandon? Tuesday against the Rangers? He hasn't pitched in like 6 days, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I believe I saw. He was scratched from his scheduled start on Sunday. So you'd want to get him in there, as quickly as possible, I suspect.
So that's Zebby and Pablo Lopez down with Bailey Ober throwing at reduced velocity. Ober says he's not hurt, just mechanically messed up. Well, if that's all it is. The Twins' 3-game losing streak is over. Big power from a little dude with Christian Vasquez, who hit his first home run at home this season, which means he got to wear for the first time the Spartan home run helmet he bought on Amazon. We'll also look at the continuing adventures of Byron Buxton at the plate. He's ever evolving, even into his 30s, as far as his approach goes, and it's kind of fascinating. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use locked. Why do I do this every time? And use code LOCKEDONMLB. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB. All right. It's an RBI. It's a new word, LOCKEDONMLB, for $20 off your first purchase. Get to Game Time right now and start game timing. So, Brandon, Zebby's got a shoulder. He's got a shoulder. Dave Wanstead, when he was a coach of the Bears, he had that Western Pennsylvania accent. And if somebody would have an injury, he'd say, Curtis, he's not practicing today. He's got a shoulder. And so Zebby Matthews is down, and it bothers me if for no other reason is that they've been obviously careful with Zebby Matthews. They don't overstress him or Festa, and Festa's had arm issues too, as far as fatigue goes. So it's not the end of the world. For me, a shoulder. Short term, it's sort of worse than some other injuries, but it's also, it's better than like having Tommy John issues or something with his UCL. It's just, I worry about it. I worry about it because he's going to be out. I worry about it because it could be a recurring thing.
Well, they've given Zebby and Festa plenty of rest, and sorry, I had to get that in there. Yeah, I
don't blame you.
Certainly it's nice to have Simeon Woods Richardson, a guy with 30 big league starts as your next man up. But boy, it gets really dicey after that. You've got Andrew Morris and Travis Adams, neither of whom have appeared a major league game. One of them has sat in the dugout for a few games, but or the bullpen, I guess, maybe both. But yeah, and again, like it really does harken back to the idea that the Twins can roll 6, 7, 8 deep better than most teams, but that doesn't make you feel any better about Bailey Ober's diminished velocity. Now, I think that the rationale of him being mechanically mixed up makes sense. Guys of that height have in the past had trouble repeating their mechanics. I mean, Randy Johnson was a mess to start his career with the Expos and didn't get things figured out until he was in his late 20s and still was a Hall of Fame pitcher. So it to me makes sense that Ober's dealing with mechanical stuff and not covering up for an injury. Now, I may have egg on my face if he comes back a start or two later and says, yeah, this has been bothering me for a while. The problem is, though, like, pitchers are always going to be dealing with something. The repetitive motion and stress that they place on their entire bodies is going to lend any pitcher to say, yeah, well, I wasn't feeling great. When are they ever feeling great? So backing off from Zebby before it gets to be a bigger problem obviously is good, but it's now 40% of the rotation down that's getting people down, and I get that. So we'll see if Zebby can make a minimum stay plus whatever it takes to build back up. Starting pitching injuries and all that are a little bit weird. So we'll see what happens, but Simeon's got his chance. He's going to be well rested and ready to go. We'll see how he handles a Rangers team that's kind of in a weird space overall.
Yeah, if you pay attention to what is happening to the Rangers on Twitter, and I didn't actually anticipate that we talked too much about them, but they're people are like ready to get rid of Chris Young and Bochy. It's like 2023 never happened, and it's only 2 years ago. So they're definitely going through it right now. I think this is an opportunity to win 2 out of 3. Of course, I say that every time, but we mentioned SWR. He's got a 5.07 ERA in 8 appearances.
You should make. I think they can take 2 or 3 as your personality. I think we can make that a thing. Sorry, back to Simeon Woods Richardson. I think we should make it a running bit, though. I can take 2 out of 3. Even the 4-game set, we'll say it.
All right.
All right.
We'll put that. We'll try and put that in the script.
Yes.
SWR. It's not like he went down to AAA and dominated. He had a couple good starts. In his last start, he allowed 3 home runs to Scranton Wilkes-Barre, which I think is that the Phillies? No, that's the
Yankees.
So the Yankees got home runs in the minors too, I guess.
Yeah.
And they scratched him from his most recent start when it appeared that they were going to need him up. So hopefully he's not going to give a bunch of home runs. The Rangers have had lots of offensive trouble this year, so we'll see what can happen there. Zebby's shoulder. It's they put in the Star Tribune, they put the actual medical diagnosis. It's a moderate subscapularis strain. Sounds it's all Greek to me, but the word moderate in there is I don't want to say troubling, but it's troubling. So he's not going to throw for 2 weeks. They're not even going to nothing. He's not going to do anything for 2 weeks, and then he'd have to ramp up if he's healthy in 2 weeks. So that's why I'm saying an optimistic return at this point is early July. Yeah. And I would not expect it to go into August, but maybe the All-Star break. I mean, it could be something like that. I'm sure they're going to be cautious.
We're starting to creep into the it's getting late early territory for starting pitcher injuries.
For sure. So hopefully whatever that was with Festa's arm discomfort, that doesn't come back up. Now, you talked about it a little bit with Andrew Morris, and they do have some other guys. Actually, maybe it's just Morris at this point in the minors who they could bring up, and you would feel at least comfortable giving one start to. Mm-hmm. So there's that. And I don't know if there's anybody else in the lower minors. I don't. But as the Royals went out and signed Rich Hill, which I thought was kind of weird because he's in his mid-40s, and they also have a very good starting rotation. But they've had some, Cole Reagans has had some issues with his groin. That's a guy I would watch if the Royals get in a little bit of a better place. We'll see if there's an opt-out or something in Rich Hill's contract. That's the kind of guy actually that the Twins at this point could use. And he's done it's AAA, and who knows how long Rich Hill could go because he is ancient. We joke, but he is. Yeah. Keep an eye on that situation to see if the Royals don't end up using Rich Hill if he becomes a free agent. Maybe he could be coming back to Minnesota. That's some wild speculation on my part, but
it'd be
keep an eye on it.
This year's Bartolo Colon or Dallas Keuchel, basically, right?
Right. Or even this year's Rich Hill.
Yeah.
Because he was there before. But
the 2020 Rich Hill. Yeah.
Yeah. Which to me isn't that long ago because I have COVID brain and it's like it was 2 years ago instead of 5. So
I remember it was 2020 because that was the last Twins Fest that I got to cover as a media member, and he was there, and Alex Avila, and I'm trying to think of who else. That team had a lot of guys that didn't get their full run as Twins. Tyler Clippard, I think, was on that team too. So, yeah, different era though, to say the least.
Who did you meet at Twins Fest live though?
Aiden.
Okay.
And Mickey Gasper.
We're gonna take a break from Twins Podcast Live, Locked On Twins Podcast Live, and come back and talk more about the Twins. Oh, I got snipped.
Yes, you did, but you got snipped for a good purpose. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios, just a great nut snack. It's one of the most highest protein nuts you're going to find out there. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, which is over 10% of your daily value, plus packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats. They will help you feel fuller longer. So, if you've been listening to the show or watching it on YouTube, I like the ones that are still in the shell, but you can get both shelled or unshelled or whatever they call the specifics there. I like the ones that are in the shell that take a little bit more effort, but it means I'm more slow and deliberate with my snacking. But if you're going to be reckless with your snacking, you can still do a lot worse than Wonderful Pistachios. They pack a great protein punch, and they're super easy to take with you on the go. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Locked On Twins hath returneth. It hasn't reached a meme stage yet, but there's a thing where Aaron Glema of The Athletic will tweet something about, since that winning streak, the Twins are 500 or whatever their record is. I think we're going to be hearing a lot of that over the next 6 weeks because of the state of the rotation. I see a time where there's going to be, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, Paul Abdul kind of thing with the Twins, where they don't get too much higher over 500 than they are now. Or maybe they will, but then there'll be some regression just simply because the starting pitching is not what it could be, and the offense remains inconsistent. We've talked a little bit about Bailey Ober. The issue isn't Bailey Ober hasn't been pitching terribly.
Yeah.
But he doesn't throw hard enough in the first place to have a lot of room for error. And as he has said, the velocity issues give him just tiny bits of room for error, whereas before he had maybe a little bit more. So I can just see, and Joe Ryan yesterday, he wasn't. I saw Glenn Perkins's keys to the game, and he's like, Joe Ryan pitched like an ace. Yeah, Joe Ryan, every time he goes out there, he's not going to give up 1 run in 8 innings. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So I kind of wonder sometimes where the victories are going to come from in the next few weeks. And I would like to profess patience for the Twins fans. Is that how much am I asking there?
I mean, it's not unreasonable, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be heated or taken heed of. And it's a good point, because if you go 5-5 in 10 games, you're on pace to win 81, right? If you go 6-10, which is only 1 more win, you're on pace to win 97. So the inertia of the MLB regular season is still lost on a lot of people, which is frustrating just because as someone who watches every single game, I have to hear people, oh, that just can't happen that you lost 6-4 because your best reliever gave up a home run. That's baseball. Like, that's just average baseball occurrences. So I don't know. The bigger point that I think you make that is good is that any sort of slip from the pitching staff puts a lot of pressure on an offense that hasn't really been there this season. And there's been signs of that turning/changing. Christian Vasquez has been swinging it better lately. Willie Castro has been swinging it better lately. Having Matt Wallner back helps. Cody Clemens hit a home run just to keep us all on our toes. And I think you could say Carlos Correa has been a little better of late. And also Royce Lewis looks to be taking better plate appearances, hitting the ball harder. And what's funny is, for as bad as he had been, there was a stretch there where like 15 of his last 17 batted balls had been 90 miles per hour or faster. And he had like no hits. It was like as part of his 0 for 30, whatever. So there were some ugly plate appearances where he'd swing at pitches you wouldn't expect him to swing at, even as swing happy as he can be. But there were times where he was just absolutely smoking the ball right at guys. And that's going to happen. I think Carlos Correa's entire first month was just that on loop. And so I think the offense is showing some signs. It would be nice if they could maybe bump it up to scoring 4 runs a game to give this pitching staff a little more wiggle room, because it's, Griffin Jax has been slightly off. His stuff under the hood still looks good, and Duran has been pretty much untouchable, but you got to give these guys a chance to be humans too. Every now and then you're going to give up 2 earned runs in an inning of relief. And if that goes from a 4-3 game to a 5-4 game every time, it's hard to come back on other bullpens. It doesn't give you much chance. So just kind of need to see this team round into maybe a little more productive on offense if they're going to lose something from the pitching staff, which I think is more than fair to expect.
I do like the progress that it appears that Royce Lewis has been making.
Yes.
He's had a walk in his last 3 appearances. He didn't start Sunday, but he did come off the bench and get a couple of hits in a walk. That's kind of funny. He came in the 5th inning.
He worked second shift.
Yeah, really.
So we got starters who work first shift, guys who come in the middle of the game second shift, and then the guys who come in for defense or third shift. I think we could make that a thing too.
I do wish, and that's Rocco does like to do that with his team. He does like to bring guys in off the bench and play half of a game or 2/3 of a game. I don't know how deep the bench is. Jonah Bride, a great knuckleballer that he is, has not really produced much offensively. It would have been nice.
As many games as he's hit in the last 3 weeks, I think. Yeah,
pretty much. So I don't know if they're just are they making double sure with Mickey Gasper that he should stay in AAA, or I don't know. But it would be nice for Rocco's, just the way that he likes to use a lineup, that if the Twins had a couple more guys who are capable on the bench than they.
Yeah, they don't seem to have any interest in playing Jonah Bride. And don't get me wrong, I have no interest in seeing Jonah Bride, and that's no disrespect to Jonah Bride. I don't know Jonah Bride, but that could just as easily be Mickey Gasper. It could just as easily be
Jose Miranda,
Anthony Prado. I mean, there's a lot of guys it could be. Jose Miranda would be a really fine choice, though, and I think he's been swinging it better of late. I can pull up some data to that effect, but I don't know. I think I'm ready to see him at Runaway Bride's expense.
I wanted to definitely talk for a few minutes about, you mentioned him already, Christian Vasquez. He hit a long home run, almost 400 feet. Mm-hmm. It was 103 miles off the bat per hour, 0.7 or something like that. He pimped it, as the kids say. He did a nice bat flip. He really enjoyed it, basically. And I thought it was good. I thought it was an important home run, not just because of what happened in the game, but it was his first home run at home this year, second on the season, which means he got to wear the home run hat, the Spartan
yes, he did.
airbrush thing that he bought on Amazon. But he bought it. Vasquez is a guy who he's what some people would call an idea man. He has a lot of ideas to get from point A to point B in the season. It's a long season, and he does a really good job of keeping it fun. And I just thought it was a neat thing for him to actually get to wear the hat after he gets this hat for everyone else, basically, to go around and do home run trots and have fun in the dugout. And I mean, the thing is falling apart. It's something he got on Amazon. I don't know how much he paid for it, but they're having almost a hard time keeping the helmet intact as they did keeping the rally sausage from being rancid last year. So
imagine if this helmet existed in 2019 when the Twins hit 300 and some odd homers.
They would have to actually go out and maybe avoid Amazon and get a real some real Spartans helmet.
Yeah, there would be Spartan 1, Spartan 2, Spartan 3, because this is not an offense that's hitting a ton of homers. By the way, Jose Miranda's last 14, 777 OPS, 7 strikeouts and 62 PA. So very, very low strikeout rate. Since May 31st, his last 8 games, 863 OPS, and he's ready. I mean, if you're going to not play Jonah Bride, you may as well just bring back Jose Ramirez. Yeah, bring in Jose Ramirez. I'm sure he'd be available. Jose Miranda.
Yeah, would they not play Jose? Would they not play him too, though? Is it one of those things where I think they're hoping to get Lewis to a point where they don't have to worry about resting him, and they don't have to worry about him not hitting anymore, and they want to play him most of the time at third base. Then when would Miranda play?
Maybe the issue is, you can't really sit Tai France no matter how much he's going through it. You want Royce Lewis to play third base, and then you're DHing Larnach an awful lot with a Bader, Buxton, Wallner outfield. So who of those guys do you want to give up plate appearances to Jose Miranda to? And so
no,
right. I mean, would it be okay to see a little less Tai France? I don't know, but Tai France right now, I don't think they're gonna. I think he brings. This is gonna sound heretical to say, he's kind of their Carlos Santana right now, where regardless of the numbers, he's just kind of the guy at first base, and they're gonna play him every day. Whether his weighted runs created plus like 106, 108, he's been perfectly league average offensively. He takes good plate appearances, gets on base by getting hit by pitches basically every other day. They're not going to give up his playing time unless he really falls off.
I think he's been on base at least once in 18 straight games, and some of
20.
that is
20.
It's 20 now.
It's like 20 or 21.
I lost some COVID time there. I guess I lost a couple of days, but
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just him getting hit by a pitch, which is, I mean, it's a skill-ish kind of a thing. Before we go to break, though, I wanted to bring this point up. I saw Gabby Vasquez, Christian's wife, mentioned something on Twitter about it was a picture. The Twins admin did a picture of Vasquez wearing the helmet and with a big grin on his face. It was very cute, and I replied on Twitter and I said, if this is great that he gets to wear the hat for once, especially since he came up with the idea. And she said, well, he bought this one. He has a good imagination, but other guys come with ideas as well. So it's not just Vasquez coming up with the rally sausage ideas or whatever. I mean, that wasn't him last year, but it seems like it's a good clubhouse for that. He also goes on to say he truly enjoys his job and his time in the clubhouse. It doesn't last forever. So that's just, remember all that kind of stuff if Vasquez happens to strike out or whatever. His wife's watching on Twitter and, don't upset her.
Or contrarily, when they re-sign him this offseason for a backup role. But I digress. Let's talk about game time. If you've ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with your friends or family, game time is where you need to be, whether it's game day and you want to be in the stands, or if you're at home and you notice that, hey, you don't got plans this afternoon and there's a big game down at Target Field. This is the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without any of the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can also use on food, drinks, merchandise, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. That's right. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to game time. Game Time, get it? To first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and the lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. It's the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to you check out that app, look at the game, look at where you want to sit. Haven't sat somewhere before? You get options too with grouping your tickets. Say you need 3, say you need 4. They'll find you the best spots, best values, and that sort of thing. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. But again, terms do apply. Make sure you check it out. It's LOCKEDON MLB. You'll get $20 off after you create an account. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Locked On Twins, back for our third and final segment for Monday, June 9th. Yeah, I might be dressed a little differently. So what? It's All-Star Voting season. Fans can vote until June 26th at noon, 17 days, 2.5 weeks. It's not that long. The rest of this homestand, the next road trip, and then another homestand, and that's it. As an aside, Brandon, do you think players vote at this point? I know they have their thing where they get their guy in or whatever. They get a player or two on the roster. But do you think they're like on their phones like that with making that noise?
Yeah, I don't know, because I guess I kind of like yearn for the old days where they would pass the ballots down. They'd walk down the stadium and hand them out. And they would always have some in the clubhouse, if I recall correctly, that the players could vote on. So I don't know. I would guess not. I would guess they're kind of just beyond it or above it, and not that it's not okay if they do or don't vote, but my guess would be no, but I couldn't say for sure.
I think it would be funny if they did.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be one of those things where it is above them, but
or below them,
or they're below it or above.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But, one is here and one is there, and it's up to you to determine who's
deal.
Anyway, so Twin social media put up a post earlier today, not that long ago, that had the lineup in it. I'm like, what? But wait, there's no game, right? So, but what they were really doing was putting the lineup of everyone on the ballot. It was an advertisement to get people to vote for the All-Star game. What are you laughing at?
It's a crummy commercial, like on.
Yeah, exactly. It was Ovaltine.
Yep.
That's what it was. Like, okay, so there is no game. I was right. Because sometimes I get confused about that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, all right, who should get a vote? Like, I think back to the thing in 2014 with the Royals, where the fans got a bug up their butt. Was it about were they host? Was that the year the Royals hosted? Was that 2013? I don't know. But it's like they voted everybody almost.
The Twins hosted in 14. I need to know that because that's where you and I met.
That's right. It's true. I was just thinking about that the other day.
Yeah.
Well, like it was like vote Omar. That was like a hashtag. Omar Infante.
Infantile.
It was kind of absurd, but it was funny. It was. I mean, I wouldn't do it again, but like, who on the Twins really deserves an All-Star vote? And the answer, there's a couple guys who are like in the neighborhood, like Harrison Bader. If you lower the threshold to 180 plate appearances, he's 13th overall in WAR among outfielders and like 8th or something in left fielders. A hot streak could boost it, whatever. You probably, I mean, if you want to like vote for the best players, you probably shouldn't vote for Harrison Bader. Willie Castro, guess who leads second baseman in WRC plus?
Is it him?
Your guy, Willie Castro. He's also not so good defensively. So he's like, maybe he doesn't have the playing time there, and he's not good on defense either. So he's down the list. Correa is actually the second best shortstop on defense, but he's the 13th best hitter. 87 weighted runs created plus. Don't vote for him. Jeffers, I mean, he's doing better than people think he is, probably.
Yes, he is.
Compared to other catchers, but no. But Byron Buxton absolutely deserves your All-Star vote. It's not only would it make a great story, but he actually even deserves it. He's second in F4 to Julio Rodriguez and 5th overall among all outfielders in F4. That is a guy who deserves your vote. It's not like
both leagues combined.
That's a great question. No, it's just American League.
It's still, still 5 outfielders
because that's the context of the All-Star game. So.
Yes. So okay. Sorry.
No, you're right. I'm glad.
Don't make me delete this again, please.
No, that's a good point. This is 5th among American League outfielders.
That's still great.
That's still really good. That means you should certainly get votes. So it might be, Julio Rodriguez is probably, I would say he would be the favorite to win that competition, but it's not like he's having a great year. That's a guy that actually people complain about. Like,
yes,
Julio Rodriguez, why isn't he playing better? But Byron Buxton, and actually this plays into originally what we were going to talk about is his very strange strike zone issues, because he's a guy.
He's on a walkabout.
Look up. You wouldn't be surprised Buck had 50 strikeouts and 5 walks. It isn't that bad, but only because he's walked 5 times in the last 3 games. Crazy, including 3 times Sunday. It's a little frustrating to watch because the dude can really work a count when he wants to, but he doesn't always want to. He certainly swings first and asks questions later. He gets in the swing mode, and that's how he operates. But it's just kind of funny how he goes from swinging anything to, wow, look at Frank Thomas up here, plate discipline. So I just think it's funny how he's playing.
And you know, we had discussed before about how he wasn't necessarily hitting but walking, and like that maybe I think it was more of a hackneyed theory that you were saying he was baiting pitchers, but watch, he'll get someone to come across the plate with fastballs and he'll hit 3 homers in a game here in the Rangers series off Great Trade Falvey, Mr. Tyler Mahle, the originator of Great Trade Falvey, I think. And so, yeah, I mean, why walk when you can run? But when you can run after you walk, like steal bases, that's not a bad thing either. And he's still doing the defense thing. He's been a phenomenal player. He actually, and not that this holds any water whatsoever, but he made the all John Boy media team, which, you know, that's Trevor Plouffe has an influence on that, obviously. So it's not as though he's going completely unrecognized or that he's playing better than maybe we realize. Ryan Jeffers, that definitely applies to. I think we're getting a fair view of Buxton playing well and appreciating it, where we might be missing the boat a little bit with Jeffers.
As far as Fangraphs calculations, a lot of Buxton's value is on base running too. That is definitely taken into consideration. So there are players who are having better defensive seasons, but he's having a very good one.
Yes.
And he's had better defensive seasons in the past. Although those things are also kind of difficult to calculate in partial seasons. So, but it's just funny how he's now, this is like his second completely different approach at the plate. He doesn't have any hits lately, but he is drawing walks, and that there's value there when you're the leadoff hitter to see a bunch of pitches and to draw walks and to put guys in position to knock you in. And but overall, no matter how his style is at the plate, that's a guy who deserves your all-star vote. So maybe we'll make a thing of that every time to remind people to vote for Buxton until he doesn't deserve it anymore, but he does. He does deserve your vote for the all-star game. So that is going to do it for this episode. How about that? That was the quickest episode ever in a way.
Yeah, weird.
Thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. That is every game, every night, all season long. That's what that is. Get your local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So, for my podcast partner, Brandon Warren, this is Dave Brown wishing you all a very pleasant good evening, saying we will, Alexei, to see you tomorrow night. Yeah.
Feed them ducks.